world champions for the 27th time. The Lakers repeat back-to-back titles. The LA Lakers. Back to throw Montana. Step up throws. This fight is over. Floyd Mayweather has a knockout victory over Ricky Hatton. Smiling. Oh! He slapped him! Conor McGregor is the new UFC featherweight champion of the world! Oh, unbelievable!
All right, welcome back to Championship Rounds. As always, it's me, Marcel Pierre, and I've got the pleasure of being joined by one of the homies. And when I say homies, I mean the homie, Skywalk. What's up, bro?
What's happening, y'all?
I just want to say thank you ahead of time for being on. Hey, it's been a while, man. We should have caught up a long time ago. What have you been up to? I mean, we kind of talked a little bit before, but you been good? You been great? I mean, you been in the gym getting those gains? What's up with you, bro? Let the world know.
Every week. I'm in the gym every week, man. And other than that, I'm at work with my daughter, man.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I do.
Definitely sound like you have your priorities all the way in order. So I'm just gonna ask you, right off the barrel, are you still doing the music? Because you made some bangers. I'm not capping at all. Are you still in the music industry currently?
What's funny is I'm actually working on my I said it's gonna be my last album, mixtape, whatever you want to call it. But it's actually in the works right now. So surprise. I am still rocking with the music. It is some stuff coming to y'all soon.
All right. Well, that's definitely good to hear. And make sure whatever you do release, hey, shoot it my way. You don't have to shoot it for free. I'll cop it. But let's go ahead and get into things. We got a lot of things. I'm joined by you today because there's a lot of moving parts in the world of professional boxing. And the biggest one on the marquee is the potential match between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. Now, this fight was supposed to be the fight to unify the 4 major world titles in the heavyweight boxing. But it's reached a hitch in the road, if you will, because arbitration ruled that Deontay Wilder is owed his trilogy fight against Tyson Fury, and they have since then verbally agreed to have that bout on July 24th. How do you feel about Wilder coming in being very, very silent? Actually, there's been chirpings from his camp that he'd never fight Fury again, and vice versa from Fury's camp. And then the moment that Fury announced that he would be fighting Joshua in Abu Dhabi, this comes out, and now he's got to fight Wilder. How does this take you?
I think it was very wise of Wilder to wait his time and get a new trainer and learn some new skills before he jumped back in the ring with Fury. Fury did owe this man his shot back to the fight. I believe in full that the first fight belonged to Wilder. Wilder needed his fight, man. You can't just take that from that man.
So when you say you feel like the first fight belonged to Wilder, you mean the knockdown. You don't feel like he beat that 10 count, do you?
He did not beat that 10 count. I don't know what the side referee was doing when he was counting, but that count was totally flawed for that man's brains, you shouldn't even have let him fight any longer.
Yeah, see the count was definitely suspect, and I know there's been videos out there on YouTube where people take the video of the fight and the knockdown and they do their own count. Technically, the count doesn't start until the actual referee begins it, so you really have to take those videos with a grain of salt. But yeah, I feel like large in part, if it went to a decision, which it did, I feel like Fury should have won the fight, but they called it a draw. And then they had that rematch, and there's a lot of suspect things that happened on that rematch. And as we talked about before we got started here, Fury put on a lot of weight and decided to bully Wilder around the ring. What was your biggest takeaway from Wilder's first defeat in that Fury fight?
I really thought Wilder was not the boxer that he needed to be. He has the punch. He definitely has the punch, and he has that 1-2 that he likes to go to, but he didn't have the boxing skill to actually fight Fury off of him. Fury came in very heavy and leaning on him, making sure he felt how heavy he was. I'm still a little questionable about the gloves of Fury. I'm not gonna sit back and let that go. But at the end of the day, I think Fury came out there and he definitely showed Wilder that he did not know how to box.
I agree with that assessment. I actually felt like he did the same thing in the first fight, but Wilder had that equalizer in his hand. But with that being said, see, if I feel like again, I'm gonna echo the same sentiment you just gave me. I feel like he didn't have the fundamental boxing, because if he did, being the smaller guy, he should have been more fleet of foot. He should have had better footwork. While Fury coming in carrying a lot of extra weight, he should have it should have been a cardio battle that Wilder should have won going away. But because, as you put, Wilder couldn't keep Fury off of him, it was pretty much one-way traffic. And it is hard for Wilder to land that devastating KO punch on the back foot all night. So
yeah. And also the head movement of Wilder, he doesn't, keep you guessing, man. So
right, you got to take your head off that center line.
Fury was just shooting it right down the center pipe because he knew Wilder wasn't gonna move his head anyway.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I feel like their boxing acumen is day and night. Like, Fury might not have, or Fury definitely doesn't have that one punch KO power that Wilder possesses. But yeah, the fundamentals are just there with him. He can fight multiple styles, and
it's awkward.
Wilder,
it comes from
Wilder
weird angles.
Wilder is too reliant. Go ahead.
I said it's awkward, and they come from weird angles.
Hey, they don't call him the Gypsy King for nothing. Let's go ahead and talk about the other man that's involved in this. Earlier, I mentioned Anthony Joshua. He actually, has been going back and forth with Fury via social media after it's been ruled that their fight couldn't take place after they announced that they would be fighting. Fury actually offered a 20 million, put 20 million up with Anthony Joshua in a bare knuckle boxing match, and whoever quits first loses. Obviously, this would never happen, but if it were in fantasy sports, how do you think that would have went down? Like, take the ring, the gloves aside, and put these two guys on the street, man to man. Who would you take in that bout?
That's hard. That's hard. I would go with Anthony Joshua just because I believe that he possibly hits harder than Fury.
So
Fury might Gypsy King, man. he's awkward.
You can't count him out.
You can't count him out because he might be the better street fighter. We don't. Those are two different realms, man. Street fighting
100%.
and boxing. But there's a chance that Joshua hits him with something hard. But Joshua, he's a machine, though. He's built
Definitely.
for boxing. I don't know if
Yeah,
he's a good street fighter.
the man has several KOs, several disgusting KOs over some great
Disgusting
boxers.
KO.
100%. So like I mentioned earlier, what Fury was trying to do was unify all of the major heavyweight world titles, the 4,
Hmm.
since there's been 4. It's been done with 3 when there were only 3 major world titles, but it's never been done with 4, and Fury was trying to capture that feat. But because this fight fell through, now Joshua has to also take another fight against his mandatory WBO challenger, undefeated Alexander Usyk. He's 18-0, and he is the first cruiserweight to ever unify the 4 major world titles, fighting at heavyweight now. So this fight has a potential to never happen. Do you think Joshua gets in there? I know he stumbled against Andy Ruiz. Everybody knows it. It's well documented. But he's going in there against an undefeated guy in Usyk, who is riding high off of being the unified, cruiserweight champion, now fighting at heavyweight. Do you feel like this fight is in major jeopardy, or do you think Joshua cruises and gets this guy out of there, or gets the decision?
I think Joshua has learned his lesson from Andy Ruiz. He really got humbled in that fight with Andy Ruiz, and you can see it by the second fight when he came back very humble and on those wheels. So I do think Joshua will get past this. He will box him. He will stay away from his power or any of his great things that he do. Uh, the fight between him and Fury, I don't think will happen because I think Fury will lose this next fight.
So you think Wilder's going to come in there and make a
I
statement?
think Wilder is going to come in. I think Joshua's going to duck Wilder a little bit, but eventually he's going to have to take that fight.
Joshua's been ducking Wilder for a long time.
For a very long time. A very scared man of Wilder.
Very. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy to say that somebody with the resume of an Anthony Joshua would be afraid to fight somebody. But I mean, it's what other reason? I mean, they were like, before Fury implanted himself and took the Wilder fight. Before that happened, the biggest fight to make was Joshua Wilder. But for one reason or another, the promoters couldn't get it done. The fighters couldn't get it done. I mean, they would have made a lot of money. There would be no reason to not make that fight. But, at that point, all of Joshua's fights were over, across the pond. And when he finally came to the U.S., that was the Ruiz fight. And we saw that. So, like I said, I keep saying this, but I'm echoing the same sentiment again, because if Andy Ruiz could come in there and get Joshua out of there, I'm almost guaranteeing Wilder would.
That's what I want to say, that because Joshua knows that he has a suspect chin. I've heard like low key rumors that sometimes he gets knocked out in sparring. So I believe that he knows he has a suspect chin, and he knows that Wilder has that bomb. I don't know if he can stay away from it, but can he stay away from it the whole fight?
Well, if he can't stay away from it, he's going to have some major problems. I mean, that's what Wilder famously said. These guys have to be perfect for every round. I only had to be perfect for 1 second. And that's real. That is real. I mean, you could go all the way back to the Ortiz fight, where Ortiz was outboxing him, winning every round, and then he got knocked out of nowhere. So it's very, very real what the man is talking about. Let me just say this. If Joshua can't get past Alexander Usyk, I mean, that would just be the epitome of everything that's wrong with boxing. How we don't ever get the fights that everybody wants. Everybody wants that fight. They should have made it already, But you got anything else to say about these three marquee heavyweights before we move on?
I just want to say, when Fury does fight Wilder, let's watch those gloves. I want to see those gloves bend like they did in that other fight, or it was definitely some tampering going on. Other than that, I can't wait to watch it. Bring it on.
Hey, I'm right there with you, and I'll be also looking to see if there's anything suspect in those gloves, and if they are completely different from the other fights, and clearly something was different. So that's a good point. We're going to go ahead and move on. Go ahead and segue over to one Andre Ward. Now, if you don't know Andre Ward, he actually retired undefeated, 32-0. He's been multiple champion in 2 different weight classes. He's more of an analyst now. He's stepped aside. He's put the gloves away, put the titles in the case, and he's an analyst now. Well, recently he was asked if Canelo Alvarez would beat him, or if he would beat him if they potentially fought, and he replied that he doesn't think any man could beat him, retired or not. Now, I know as a boxer, as a competitor, you have to have that psyche of invincibility and whatnot, and he's never been beaten before. But before I throw it over to you, I know you can't do boxing math, but Ward, his biggest opponent, and honestly his only notable win, was 2 wins against one Sergey Kovalev. Now, he TKO'd Kovalev in the second fight in round 8, and he unanimous decision him in the first fight, which people thought was a little bit controversial, which is why they had the second fight. Canelo Alvarez, on the other hand, KO'd Kovalev in 11 rounds. Now, Alvarez is, the consensus pound for pound best boxer in the world right now. So I'm going to throw it over to you with one question. How do you feel this potential bout would play out if it were to occur?
Oof.
Some big names.
Well, yeah. Andre Ward, man. I don't know, Andre.
Right.
Canelo is he's headstrong, man. He comes forward. He's powerful, and he knows how to box.
Oh, definitely. And one thing about Canelo is that you might start out doing good. You might start out and get comfortable, but this guy is not going anywhere. He's not going away.
Where?
So that
I've seen Canelo lose to Floyd. Andre, do you have that skill to be able to manipulate Canelo? Because I would like to see it. I mean, it'd be very interesting. But I think Andre would lose to Canelo. I think he'll take it out to Canelo.
Yeah, I don't think any man would be. I don't think any of them would be KO'd or the fight would be stopped. But I do feel the same way about you. I feel like it would go to a decision, and the decision would belong to Canelo. I feel like he would just be the busier boxer, and judges love that. So.
And he's very brutal with those body punches, man. Canelo will slow you down. 100%. He'll slow him down.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you saw the Billy Joe Saunders fight, but
oh yes, yes.
Yeah, that's
he
what
walked
he pretty
that
much
man.
Did.
It was clear from the start, bro. As soon as they touched each other, you can tell that Canelo was clearly the better boxer and the stronger fighter.
Yeah,
I mean, he was moving that man with punches that he should have been able to take.
100%. It's just like when Canelo landed, it was just way more devastating than that of Billy Joe. So
yeah, Billy, he shouldn't have been in there. He was outclassed. I can't remember. Has Canelo fought Pacquiao?
No, he hasn't. He hasn't fought Pacquiao. I don't think that fight would happen because Canelo is actually moving up in weight, and Pacquiao is staying, stagnant. I think he's supposed to fight Bud Crawford. Terrence Bud Crawford. A date hasn't been set for that fight, but that's the potential fight on the horizon.
We should have marked them in too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if that fight were to happen, I got Bud Crawford all day. I feel like Bud Crawford
all day too.
Yeah, That man's a
I don't
monster and
know
an
though, but
animal.
listen to me where I have a problem with Bud Crawford against Pacquiao,
Okay.
because Bud likes to think that he take any punch and keep coming forward.
He'll take one to give
I
one. Yeah.
don't, I don't know if he can take any punch to give one. I've seen him get shook in a couple times, and I'm scared for him if Pacquiao get on one of his little furies and he's just walking forward.
That's a
So I'm interested.
that's
I'm
a
real
very
interested in
That's
that
a
one.
very good point because Terrence Crawford, people say, people have said, notable pundits have said that he reminds them of a Tommy Hearns, a guy that will take punches because he feels like his punch is going to be way more devastating and get your ass out of there. So when he goes up against a guy like a Pacquiao that has notable power, there is a potential problem there. And I would if he were to, if that fight actually materializes, it would be in his best interest to uh to take it more to take a more cautious approach. But then again, we have seen Pacquiao flatline on his face.
Yeah.
So, so there's that to think
You're
about
right
as
though.
well. But
You're
let's
right.
go
And
ahead and
Bud
since
can't
we're
box.
yeah, so we were discussing Canelo and Ward, that potential bout. Well, Canelo has actually got realistic things on the horizon where he is trying to unify, all the major world titles at middleweight, and he's has a projected matchup against one Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant's 21 years old, or 28 rather, 21-0 with 12 KOs. Not a very, very mainstream notable boxer, but the hardcores know the name, and he is the reigning IBF super middleweight champion. Um, with Canelo's record being that he drew with Triple G, lost to Canelo. Yeah, he got the Triple G fight back, or he didn't lose Canelo. He lost to Mayweather, because he is Canelo. Floridian slip, but so he lost to Mayweather. He drew with Triple G, got the Triple G win back, but he's 56 wins on his record. He's got way more experience inside that ring than Caleb Plant, and he's had that over damn near all of his past opponents. I mean, experience is a mother, So with that being said, you got Plant coming in undefeated, never tasted defeat in his professional career. Uh, how do you feel? How do you feel that potential fight would go? Do you feel like Canelo would also cruise in that fight? Because I mean, honestly, I think the Ward fight would be a tougher competition for Canelo. But what's your take on this projective matchup?
Like you said, man, experience is a motherfucker. And that man's got tons of it. That man may not have tasted defeat, but it's been a lot of people who's never tasted defeat and has tasted defeat.
By Canelo.
um,
He's taking a lot of people's O's. You're right.
Canelo is, I can see it in his eyes, man. He's on a mission right now, man. He's on a mission. I think he's gonna do his homework. He's
Mm-hmm.
gonna use that ring experience, and he's gonna cruise. It might be a decision. It could be a knockout.
Yeah, don't sleep on that. I mean, yeah, Billy Joe, Billy Joe never been knocked out, never been stopped. You know what I mean? He failed to make the call off of the stool because Canelo broke his face.
Yes,
So
yes.
I'm just saying,
Broke
you got
his
these.
face.
Go ahead. What'd you say?
I said yes. Broke his face.
Rumbled. So Canelo, I mean, since we both see eye to eye as far as Canelo Alvarez goes, what do you think his ultimate goal is here? Because he's going to potentially unify all the major world titles at middleweight. Do you see him continuing to rise in weight, or do you see him just looking out for after that point, if he were to unify all the major world titles, do you see him rising in weight and trying to do it at another weight class, or do you think he looks out for super fights, money fights? What do you think what do you think's in his plans? Neither one
I
of us
can
know,
see
but
I can see Canelo positioning himself right now to rise in weight. Like you can see it in his muscle mass. You can see it in how his body is like dramatically changing. He's looking to go up. It seems like I really believe he's gonna go to the next level if he can continue to win.
Well, I mean that's definitely something that, you know, a lot of people foresee happening is him continuing to win, and the way he's
I
looking.
mean, look at him. Look at his
Right.
shoulders. Look at his arms. He's not the same fighter he was when he was fighting Floyd. He's not the same
Exactly.
fighter he was before that.
Exactly. You know, Floyd got him young. He got him
Yeah, he
young. You
did.
know what I mean?
Yeah, he did.
Because right
Some
now,
some
Canelo is the definition of a prime boxer. You know, back then he was a very good boxer, a great boxer even. He was undefeated. He was a great boxer, but he didn't have that ring generalship that a Floyd Mayweather brought to the table. Since we're bringing up Floyd, let's go ahead and go to the next topic, and that is Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul. Now, now Logan Paul's a YouTuber, as you know. He's 0-1. He lost a split decision to a fellow YouTuber in KSI, whoever the hell that is. And this fight is actually taking place 6-round exhibition, which was the same as Logan's first exhibition or bout with KSI. And there's a gross size difference here. Now, there's a size reach difference. You know, Floyd is coming in. He's going to come in 160 or more, and Paul is going to come in 190 or less. How do you see this? Do you think this is going to even be competitive? What do you think is going to happen here, buddy?
See, that's the only thing that's really intriguing about the fight is the size. The size difference. We know what Floyd can do. We know the hands that Floyd got, but can he handle a punch from somebody way bigger than him? Is the real question. I mean, that's my only worry for Floyd is how big that guy's coming in. Like Floyd got the skills, Floyd got the ring wherewithal, Floyd's got the hands.
I mean, he's pretty much got a check mark on his side in every category except
every
the size.
category.
Right.
Except the size. Can he take what that man's gonna hit him with?
I think Logan
Floyd's gonna
Paul
play
be
with
able
him.
to lay a glove on him?
No. I don't. No.
That's what I'm saying.
Unfortunately.
I feel like he's gonna be he's the speed different. Now Floyd's no spring chicken. We all know that. But he's still gonna be the faster guy in there, the more fleet of foot guy in there. It's hard for me to think that Logan is gonna be able to land a power shot on Floyd. Like Floyd is gonna get out of there. Like he's I feel like he's gonna touch him up. Go ahead.
I think Floyd's gonna let him. Just like I feel like when Floyd fought Conor McGregor, nobody's seen that Floyd really didn't throw a punch in the first round. Nobody's seen that Floyd really didn't throw a punch in the second round. Floyd took everything that Conor McGregor could throw, and then he started beating him up. Will Floyd do that again? Will Floyd stand there and let him hit him to show him that he cannot beat him and then beat him up? Or will Floyd avoid him and slowly pick him apart?
I mean, that's a good question. The Conor McGregor fight that you brought up, I mean, Floyd obviously did his homework on Conor. Now, Conor is not a traditional boxer, but that was that was an actual sanctioned boxing match. That wasn't 6 rounds. I think it was an 11 round bout, I believe. Maybe even 12. It ended in the 10th, I believe, so it doesn't even matter. But Floyd, let Conor punch himself out. And let me just say this, like Floyd definitely walked him down and took everything that Conor threw at him. I don't feel like, aside from one uppercut, I don't feel like there was much pop on Conor's punches. I don't feel like he had, the sweet, right. I don't feel like he had the sweet science down.
No, he don't.
Like he wasn't really getting under his punches and stepping into them. He was, more so, you know what I mean? Just
Floyd could have had him out of there in the first or second round. Easy.
I agree.
You seen the power shots didn't come in until around the 8th or 9th round. And that's when Floyd was like, all right, now it's time to get him out of here. I do think he will try to do.
When the power shots started coming in, he was nailing his ass, bro. Wow. knocking the snot bubbles out of his nose. Like,
Yeah, man. You can see it in Conor's eyes. He didn't want nothing else to do with
absolutely. And the referee mercifully rescued him from taking more punches to the head. Like,
But I
seriously.
believe that's what Floyd is going to do to the Paul brother. I don't know if the Paul brother's power might stumble Floyd while he's playing around with him. But I mean, that's the only chance I give him. That's it. That's the only chance you got, bro. Is
The
to
only thing
get
he
him
has
while
is a
he's
puncher's
playing.
chance. He's just got a
That's
puncher's
all he got is a
chance.
puncher's chance. And I don't even think he's the better puncher of the brothers. I think Jake
No,
punches better than Logan.
I
I don't
agree.
even know why Floyd's fighting Logan. He should be fighting Jake.
100%. And hey, that might happen. I mean, so let's go ahead and that's a good segue to the next topic. The last topic, Jake Paul signing with Showtime. Floyd is a Showtime boxer. You know, Floyd, this fight with his brother Logan is going to be promoted by Showtime. So that's a potential fight that could happen. Now, Jake signs a multi-fight deal with Showtime. Who do you think is his next opponent? They said they're getting him an opponent. Do you think they're going to wait and see what happens here? Obviously, people know what's going to happen here. You think they put him in there with a Mayweather right away? Or do you think they put him in there with another celebrity, somebody else to boost his marketability?
I think they'll put him in there with another celebrity, somebody he can beat. Somebody he can
Right,
beat. Uh,
right.
and I really wish Floyd would honor what he said, that he
Which
would
is
fight both of them in the same night.
one night.
I
Yeah, that would
really
be
wish
nuts.
Floyd would honor what he said because that would be epic. Beat both of the brothers up in the same night and they both bigger than you. I mean, come on.
And I don't doubt that Floyd could get that done. I
Yes,
doubt. My only doubt of that is if an athletic commission would sanction that. You know, that's the
right.
only that's the only thing I would doubt in that whole premise. So you say you think he fights another celebrity, somebody he can beat. You know, he's been getting called out by the game, several MMA fighters, several boxers. How long do you think it takes for this guy to actually get in there with a real boxer, a real boxer?
The moment he does something in this next fight, he was this close to being in there with a real boxer this time. I mean, once he
Who
beat that if he maybe he picked somebody else from the UFC. Maybe. I mean, that's what got him
the
the
notoriety?
chance to fight a Floyd Mayweather. Like even
Exactly.
close to fighting a Floyd Mayweather. So he opened it up for his brother. He definitely did that.
I mean, he's
I mean,
100%. Obviously, I mean, a guy is coming off of a loss to a YouTuber. Now he's in there with Floyd Mayweather. Definitely opened the
and
door.
and and he beat Nate bad. He made Nate. That was his moment. And
That
he
was a
trolled
disgusting
Soldier
display.
Boy. He trolled the shit out of Soldier Boy. Soldier
Yeah,
Boy didn't want nothing to do with that. I
as he
mean,
shouldn't.
the man he's targeting the right people. Is
Yeah,
all I'm saying.
yeah, he's definitely a marketing genius because he's pushing all the right buttons with all the right people and keeping his name relevant through all of this.
Very relevant.
Uh,
He's got
well,
people like us paying attention to him. I
exactly,
like boxing.
exactly.
I like UFC. I ain't. I don't care about no YouTuber, but I mean, he's got my attention. I want
Well,
to see him lose.
Well, since he's got our attention, exactly. You want to see him lose. A lot of people were like that with Floyd. You know, a lot of people like that
Yeah.
with Floyd. They tune in to see if he wanted him to lose. But let's just close out with this, bro. Like, okay, you got a couple of fantasy matches on the horizon, well, like a lot of them for Jake Paul. Let's just take these two particular fantasy matches, and I just want your take on how you think they would go down. Now, you saw Conor McGregor in a boxing match with Floyd Mayweather. How do you think the fight would go with a Jake Paul?
Jake Paul and
Boxing.
Floyd and Conor.
No. Jake Paul versus Conor McGregor in a boxing match.
Okay. Jake Paul versus Conor McGregor in a boxing match. I believe that Jake Paul would knock Conor out.
That's going to be a very unpopular opinion. I'm just going to.
And
I'm
ain't
just gonna,
nobody gonna like what I'm saying. But
nobody.
listen,
But
listen to me. Hold on.
can you
Listen to
elaborate
me.
on why you think that would happen like that?
Before I elaborate, Jake Paul will knock Conor McGregor out. So I'm gonna elaborate
Hey,
now.
hey, let him
Because
know. Then let him know.
Jake Paul's he's bigger and he has more experience in the ring. He's actually been in there taking punishment and he turns over his punches nice. That's something Conor does not have. He doesn't have that skill to hit with gloves on. So his punches probably won't even hurt Jake Paul because he doesn't have that pop yet. Jake Paul has that pop.
Definitely has that
I've
pop.
seen it. I've seen it. I was like, okay, he might can get into amateur boxing and actually go somewhere a little bit,
So do you, so
but
you
not
don't
Conor.
so
No.
you don't think that, I mean, we've all seen, like I said, the disgusting display against Nate Robinson. We saw
Mm-hmm.
the second disgusting display against, which actually the Nate was worse, but Ben Askren also tasted the
Mm-hmm.
canvas. So it's well documented that this guy hasn't been in there with anybody that's seasoned in striking.
Mm-mm.
Like,
Mm-mm.
seasoned in striking, notable for striking. Not one guy he's been in there with. But we know that he can put you down, you know?
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, like, you don't think that would play a factor in a potential Conor McGregor fight because, Conor is more seasoned being in there with, notable strikers in his world, because it's a complete, or do you think it's just completely different because the punches are completely different in boxing?
I think it's just completely different, man. Connor's trained to fight MMA. He does not have that boxer's punch. He can't turn over a punch like a normal boxer can. We
Right.
seen Connor rabbit punching,
Mm-hmm.
throwing punches like they just had no theme to them. So
Right.
it's
You're
gonna be
right.
hard for him to go against somebody who's actually been training as a boxer, and he actually looks. His turnovers are fluent. He leans into his punch, and he's knocking people out. I mean, they're nobodies. They're nobodies. but but so is Connor in the boxing ring. Nobody.
Agreed.
If he
Agreed.
jumped
I'm
in
not
that UFC realm, Connor would take him easy, easy,
easy.
easy. Probably armbar him, easy. But
100%. And Connor's not even known for jiu-jitsu, but yeah, definitely. I I definitely think if they fought in MMA, Conor would make an example of him on the feet with kicks and things
yes,
like that as well. But
yes,
I agree with you.
those
I'm not
legs.
making a fantasy pick on who I think would win that boxing match. But what I will say is you made a lot of points, a lot of good points. The last person that I want to talk about potentially fighting a Jake Paul is Nate Diaz. Now Nate Diaz notably helped rather Andre Ward prepare for his opponents when he's going into boxing. Nate Diaz is trained by Richard Perez, a notable boxing trainer out of Stockton, California. If Nate Diaz, the durable Nate Diaz, who's known for his hands, if he gets in there with a Jake Paul, this is the last thing we're going to discuss. How do you think this would play out? Do you think it's more of the same of you were talking about with Conor?
That man has something inside of him, man, and it turns on while he's getting his ass whooped. So, so I don't know, man. I don't know his heart could could, but I've never seen him in boxing gloves, man. I don't know I don't know, man.
That's a good
That's
point.
hard right there, man.
So you're pretty
That
much
man has
saying
heart, man.
you're pretty much saying you got to see it to believe it type. Like you're not
Yes,
gonna, I made
yes.
that mistake, bro, because I made the mistake. I didn't put any money on it, but I thought Ben Askren was gonna win. I did. I said this guy has been in there fighting at a championship level. It's not boxing, but no, he's been fighting at a championship level. He's a multiple-time Olympian. Like he has that championship acumen. I thought that alone would push him and will him to victory. I was completely fucking wrong. He got knocked the hell out. So I see where you're coming from. I see where you're coming from, saying you haven't seen him with the gloves on. So I mean, I don't know how it would go, but I feel like I would fall into that same narrative. Like knowing what I know about Nate Diaz, I would be like, I got Nate.
And you don't know.
Exactly.
Can Nate turn over a punch in a boxing glove and make it effective? Can he throw a uppercut to keep somebody off of him? I know Jake Paul can.
Right.
But can he? Jake Paul trains for this. He actually fights with some good people to train.
Right. Definitely.
He's probably getting better trained. I actually see it in Jake Paul's eyes that he really wants this. But can he handle it? Can he handle all the pain that's coming with it?
I mean, we'll see. I'm just going to close it out by saying this. People are giving Jake Paul a lot of flack because they're saying, oh, he's not boxing real boxers. He's not in there with real boxers. But I mean, the guy is 3-0 right now. Like what 3-0 boxer do you guys know that is going to get in there with a freaking killer at 3-0? So you got to give.
And we also got to put it into account that some of these great boxers that we watch become great had to go through a lot of nobodies first. You know what I'm saying? And they made them look terrible. You know what I'm saying? A whole lot of them.
Yeah.
To get to be able to fight somebody notable. So get that man his shot, man.
Well, that's the thing.
Let him embarrass himself. Let him bump his head.
He gonna learn. And that's the thing about boxing. Like everybody wants to spoon feed them these tomato cans to get their record where it looks really good, because it's all a promoter game. It's all how much money can I make off of this fight with this guy. And the undefeated guy looks really good on the marquee, just damn near as good as a championship belt on there looks. So you got anything else to say or plug before we get out of here, bro?
Hey, just hit my music page. It's not just music; it's all kinds of content. Living to Die records. You put the Living to Die all together. Separate the records. Check me out, or check out my opposite page. It's KZB Boys on YouTube. Other than that, I'm out here.
All right. That's Kalamazoo Boys. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
All right.
We used to roll that way.
I'm familiar with KZB.
Yeah.
Hey,
Skywalk. I ain't never listened to Up Next. Check it out.
Hey, thanks again for joining me. Definitely got to come back and do something like this again, maybe after a big MMA fight. But I salute you, bro.
I love talking MMA.
Oh yeah, I'm glad to hear that. I'll definitely keep you in mind on my next MMA show. But with that being said, man, thanks for being here. The rest of you guys, that's all I'm gonna leave you with. Hey, a lot of boxing things happening. Until next time, stay frosty.
I'm the godfather of this shit. Call me Corleone, I get you with. And I'm shooting shit like Scorsese. Get you whacked, ain't nobody made me. I'm the godfather of this shit. Godfather. And you ain't gon' sell me like a bitch. I'm the godfather of this shit. Call me Corleone, I get you with. And I'm shooting shit like Scorsese. Get you whacked, ain't nobody made me. I'm the godfather of this shit. Godfather. And you ain't gon' sell me like a bitch. No, you ain't gon' sell me like a bitch. Put your hands on me, then that's it. Put them bands on with it. Call me savage, he gon' talk the fast. You trippin', you ain't taking meds. So get right, get lit. Supposed to be this thug nigga. Say you gon' kill, you ain't no killer. You really never know who is. The silent ones is ruthless. Ruthless mean no talk. Red shit heavy on your block. Play with guns, you get shot. Play with guns till you get popped.